Tere hommikut. Good morning. Mina olen Ivari Soome arukad-süsteemidest ja oleme siin koos partneriga firmast PowerParts OC. Petar Dragić tutvustab siis täna insenertarkvara lahendust elektri välisvõrkude projekteerimiseks. Meie koostöö on alanud eelmisest aastast. Lisaks siis Autodeski lahendustele pakume ka erilahendusi välisvõrkudele ja PowerParts on siis uudne tarkvara, insenertarkvara elektri projekteerijatele välisvõrkude projekteerimiseks. Petar tutvustab siis tarkvara lähemalt ja sessiooni käigus võimalik chati küsimusi kirjutada. Presentatsiooni lõpus on nii-öelda avatud mikker, et on võimalik ka küsimusi otse siit Zoomist esitada. Presentatsioon on salvestamisel ja pärastpoole tagasisides jagame siis teile ka salvestuse linki. Kuulajaid tuleb juurde, aga nagu öeldud, salvestus käib ja sissejuhatus on tehtud. Ma annan mikri Petarile üle. So, welcome, Petar. I will stop my sharing and you can start your presentation.
Okay, thank you, Ivari. Hello, and from my side, thank you, Ivari, for hosting us. It's my pleasure to present you our solution, our path for power line design. I will start with sharing my screen, and I hope that you can see my screen. Yeah,
it's
okay.
Visible.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Ivari already make a short introduction. I'm Petar Dragić from PowerPath company. I'm team leader for this product, and for that I want to present you PowerPath. Before I start with live demonstration, I want to share with you agenda of this webinar. First, I want to make a short introduction about our product and our company. Then I will go directly in software solution PowerPath to present you workflow, or actually the main features of the PowerPath. I will go through the process of the creating surface, then to create power line, to add supports, insulators, conductors. Then I will present you how you can to get reports of that power line, and for the end, how you can to export a 3D model of the power line. That is also important because we create solution also to support BIM process or to creating BIM models of the power lines. Of course, we will share with you a few information about the licensing and pricing model of the PowerPath, and of course, in the end, we will have today's section. Feel free to ask any question. You can write it in chat box, and for the end, we can to make a discussion. Before I start with live demonstration, I want to share just a few information to meet us, who we are, and who create actually PowerPath. We are a PowerPath company with the same product name, PowerPath. What is important, we are a mix of young and ambitious people, also with the experience. But when you look at part of the experience, we cooperating so close with the company CGS Labs. That is important because CGS Labs is a company who had a lot of experience in software development. Actually, PowerPad as a software solution is new product solution on the market, and it is published last year in September. And like I mentioned, our actually co-founder is CGS Labs company, and based on that experience, we create this solution. A few information about the CGS Labs. They're creating really cool software solutions for infrastructure design, for traffic design, for railway design, for river design, and also they have a department for developing road weather information system for support the maintenance of the transport infrastructure. If you want to see more details about the CGS Labs company, like our co-founder, you can visit website cgslabs.com. Now let's go now on PowerPad solution as a software for power line design. Before I start with live demonstration in solution, I want to answer on the most asked questions. The first one question is, where can we apply software solution? Software solution PowerPad can be applied for overhead transmission and distribution systems or distribution lines. And it means you can use solution and for transmission and also for distribution lines. That is not plugin. It is also one of the most asked questions, is PowerPad plugin? No, it is not a plugin. It is a standalone solution that supports 2D design and 3D beam modeling. As a standalone solution, it is not complicated for installing. You can see just a few screenshots how can to install software solution like any other CAD or BIM solution. Let's go now on live demonstration. I hope that you can see now my screen with the software PowerPad. I will turn off my camera just for better visibility. Okay, first, when you open PowerPad, you get dashboard where you can, like any other CAD solutions or BIM solutions, recently used files. And I will start with my survey data to show you how you can create your outline project. In this exam, to be clear, I have my survey data as a points like XYZ coordinate. And based on these points, I will create surface, which I need to have for Z coordinate of my power line. With the PowerPad, you can create new project or new lines, better to say, or to redesign existing project of the power lines. But before I start my surface, I want to just a few words about the workspace, about the ribbon. You can see on the top you have the ribbon with the commands for creating power lines. It is separated in groups of the commands. And for example, if you want to use commands for the surface, it is grouped here. If you want to use command for creating power lines here, for supports and etc. On left side, you can see that we have Project Explorer, but this Project Explorer, actually, that is the one place where you can preview all of the elements in your project. You will see later how I adding any entity or elements of the project. It will be shown here in the Project Explorer. Let's start with this example. Like I mentioned, I have here points, and I have one raster photo. It is image, which I also can do drape or project on my surface. The first step in creating new power lines is to create surface. I will go now to create surface from points and select this point and press enter or OK. You can see that I got now surface. When I click on surface, I have different possibilities for visibility of the surface. For example, if I want, I can turn on my contours. For example, I can turn off triangles. For contours, you have also options for different visibilities. For example, if you want to change colors, if you want to define or change the contour interval, for example, if you want to have maybe 7 meters, it is also possible. And Also, if I look on surface, I have also another statistics data about the surface, about the minimum maximum elevation, what is also interesting about the 2D area, 3D area, etc. Okay, if you want to make a better visibility or to have a realistic view of the surface, it is also possible. I will show you. I will just want to turn off my triangles. And now I can to drape this image of the surface. I will go here on command assign image. Then I need to select surface and then to select image. Okay, and if I go on realistic view, now we will see that I have a surface in realistic view with draped image. What it means? It means that I, from 2D elements, actually points, I create surface entity. Okay, let's go back on 2D view, and I can turn on the triangles for better visibility in 2D view. What is next step? Next step is to create my power line. How can to create power line? I need to go here on draw power line. I need to define the name of the power line, for example, my overhead line. Station, I can start from 0, or I can start for different station. Supports, or actually poles names, I can define, of course, on another name. For example, if I want, I will start with the pole 1, and I need to choose the tension support model. I will use this default model, and later I will show you how you can to add your own support model or any other elements like insulators and conductors. Also, here I will check the drape on the surface because I want to have have it automatically draped my power line on the surface. What I need now to define, I need to define the points of my tension poles. And how you can to see, if you're using AutoCAD or any other CAD platforms, it is very simple, like creating power line. Okay. When I finished, I just press enter and I have created alignment of the power line. Alignment is with the defined name and with the defined type of the pole. For example, this is the tension support. And you can to see that I have from pole 1 to pole 6. Like I mentioned at the beginning, on left side of Project Explorer, you can see any of the created elements. And for example, here is created my surface with the name surface 1. Here are created my power lines. In this example, I have just one, but you can have more than one, of course. And if I click on my overhead line, I can to see all of my poles. It is very simple example, but just imagine if you have hundreds of the poles and want to go on 154 pole, for example. You can to find here, and for example, you can go on right click and let's say zoom, and solution automatically zoom on that pole. Okay, one of the biggest advantage of this solution is creating poles in 3D. And what it means, if I rotate just my layout, you will see that this is automatically created in 3D. It means I have just alignment with my tension poles in 3D. Okay. If I want to edit my alignment, it is very simple. You need just to click on alignment and move the pole where you want to move it. For example, like this. If you want to add new poles, you need to go on command add support and to define on which alignment you want to add, and you will get this dialog where you need to choose which type of view of the pole you want, if you want to add suspension poles, you will see that you have just possibility to add between the tension poles. For example, I will put it here and here and here. But if I want to continue my alignment, I need to choose tension and say, okay, I want to add, for example, 2 more poles like this. When I finish, I need just click on OK. Again, if I go in 3D, you can see that I have added, of course, new poles, my new suspension poles. Let's go next step, and that is to add insulators on the poles. How can to add insulators? I need to go on command add insulator, and I need to select pole. Yeah, in the command line, I want to mention it. In the command line, we have all instructions what we need to do. I need to select one pole, and when I zoom it, you can see that I have different attachment points. Actually, there are points for adding insulator on the pole. I will add here on attachment point 3, and I will choose this type of insulator and this model of the insulator. There are predefined models in solution. Of course, you can add your own models of insulators. And then I will press on OK. Now you will see that the insulator is added on the pole and just on this pole. If I zoom on another pole, you can see that insulator. I have command for adding insulators on all the same poles, and first I will go to add all insulators, all insulators on all tension poles. I will go on command edit insulator, define first tension pole, and define for each attachment point to add insulator like this. Okay, and press apply to all supports of the same data model. Press OK. Now you will see that I have added insulator on all of my tension poles. Okay, in this example, I just added insulator on the first pole, but I didn't add here. Let's go again here for add insulator and define also here this model and say apply to all poles. And now you can see that on all tension poles I have added my insulator. Okay, I add insulator on tension poles. I need to add insulator on suspension poles, and I need to find one suspension pole, go on command add insulator, and define which model I want to add on suspension poles. Let's press OK, and OK. Now we can see that models of insulators are added on suspension poles. What is next step? Next step is to add conductor. I will go on add conductor, choose this alignment, and define the name of my first conductor or first phase. I will put phase 1. Here you have the list of the predefined conductors. Of course, here are the predefined. You can also add your own conductor. Software asks me about which is the first, which is the last on support, where I want to add this phase 1, and on which attachment point I want to add. I will add the attachment point 1. Later I will example about the weather adjustment conditions. Press OK, and now you can see that the conductor is added. But this is also important. When you're adding your conductor, solution add on the right, or better to see real position of the conductor. You can see here the angle between the poles and insulator, between the pole and the insulator. And when you're adding conductors, let's go again here to add to phase 2, press OK. You will see that is automatically actually rotated on the right position. Once again, repeat for phase 3 and press OK. Okay, and when you look at it in 3D, it is real model of the power line. Of course, yeah, if I rotate here, where I have maybe bigger span, you can see that conductors are also moved like simulated influence of the wind, because in referent and weather conditions you need to create that loads on the power lines, and that is already created actually here in weather in referent conditions. Okay, but let's explain it later. Let's go on next step. If I want to create a profile view of the power line, I need to go here on the command create power line profile. Let's go on top view and let's create power line profile. Select power line, and here when I select power line, I can do the define name of the profile. Here is automatically shown how many phases I have on my alignment, and of course I can choose, do I want to create power line profile for all alignment or just for a few poles. In tab references, you can define the scale, horizontal and vertical scale, and you can also show on the profile right and left offset of the terrain. I will, for example, define here 10 meters to show you how it looks on profile view. Here on rubrics, you can define visibility, of course, but you can also define your own name. For example, station, terrain elevation, span, etc. It means that you can localize profile view on your language. Also, here are some additional annotations, and I will turn to show the lowest point marker and also maximum sag marker to show how it looks on profile view. Let's press OK and define the place where I want to put my profile view. How looks profile view? You have actually two parts. First part is about the rubrics, where you can see actually numbers of the station, terrain, elevation, span, and it means for all alignment you can see the station of each pole. For example, if I zoom it here, it is station. You can also see elevation of the pole. It means in this point where pole is connected to the terrain, and you can see another important data about the span. What is the span? Span between the first and second pole. In this example is 62.91. You can also see tangent section. Tangent section is actually length between the first and second tangent pole, and it means in this example is 131.04. Also, you can see details about the conductor. And for example, in this tangent section, you have 3 phases with this conductor or this wire. Let's go on this graphical preview. Here on graphical preview, you can see the poles, of course, with the name of the model, with the height of the pole, and with the type of the pole. It means TS, it means tangent support. If I zoom on another pole, it is SS, and it means suspension support. Of course, you can see the conductors here, or catenary, with the mark the lowest point and the maximum sag of the conductor. And of course, that is the same for each section. If I remember, I also turn off offset of the terrain, left and right. And here you can see that I have green line, and it means that is the just terrain under the alignment. But I also used to have here left and right offset of the terrain. It means this orange line and these blue lines. And that aligns are actually offset of the terrain, left and right of the alignment. What is important? It is important if we have somewhere terrain which is not flat, to see is anywhere problem with collisions between the catenaries and the offset of the terrain, actually terrain on the left and the right side. Okay, that is the profile view. If I'm going further, I can make calculations about the different reports. For example, I can create sag-tension report. I'm going to sag-tension report. I need to select alignment, and I need to define here, do I want to have this calculation for all poles and for all conductors, or just for maybe one phase? I will create for all conductors. Here I need to define temperature range. It is -20 until 18, and step. There are two different types. Okay, we have in this moment just one general template, but there are two different types for that exported file. For example, you can save it in TXT file or Excel file. If I want to save it in Excel file, I need to press OK, define the name. For example, sag-tension report, and press OK. And you will get generated file with the calculation for sag-tension on this alignment. When you look here, you can see that for each phase you have the calculation. For example, for phase N1, which conductor model is used, and actually parameters on that conductor. You can see here the load factor and wind pressure of this conductor on this phase one conductor, phase one, and of course you can see the calculations. For example, from the pole 1 to pole 2 for phase 1. What is also important, you can see here the maximum sag and tensions from -20 until to 80, and also you can see the additional calculations on -5 for tension and sags. And that is the same also for another phases. This is one report. Another report is about the support report. I click on support report. I can print actually a report for all supports. Of course, I can choose Excel TXT. Let's now use TXT, for example. Define the name. Let's say it is support report, and press save. And you can see that solution generate TXT file with the calculations for loads on supports or on poles. For example, when I look here, I have support with the name pole 1, that is tension pole actually. I can see here rotation, power line direction, wind span, weight span, and all of elements which I have on this pole. If I look here on the table 1, here are loads based on conductors. On table 2 are loads based on insulators. And finally, in the table 3, I have a summary of that loads on support 1. That is defined in XYZ way or load of the pole. If I'm going further, I can see another pole. It is pole 2 with the tie suspension and also the same calculation for this pole. Based on this calculation, you can choose which one pole you want to use. Another report is quantity report. Let's define also for all supports, and let's define, for example, Excel file, press OK, define the name, for example, quantity report, press save, and you can see the quantity of this alignment. For example, first are quantity for supports, then are quantities for insulators, And for the end, you can see the quantity of conductors and ground wires. Okay. If you need another report, for example, if you want to create coordination report of your design alignment, you can also define it. You can define, okay, of course, here decision of that, for example, with this format, and of course, I can be TXT or Excel file. Let's say coordination report. Save, and you can see coordination of your new design poles. X, Y, Z coordinate. And also the type is the tension, is tension support, T like tension support, S like suspension support. Okay. About these calculations, of course, you can define weather and reference conditions. Here you have options for adding your weather and reference conditions, and you can generate different reports based on your weather conditions. For example, I can add, for example, let's say my weather conditions, and define all of the parameters: temperature, ice load, wind pressure, wind direction, for example. Let's define here like this one. 600 or 6,000 pascals, because here not in megapascals, here pascals, and press add. And when you add it, it is automatically added here in reference or weather conditions. Okay, you can see here that is automatically added. Of course, you can also later edit and change it. If you want to add this new weather condition on all alignment, you need to go on your defined alignment, just go edit, and here you can change it and say, okay, I want to use my weather conditions, and press OK. And then it is automatically calculated also all of that positions in 3D model. If you remember from the beginning, these conductors was on the left side, now they're on the right side because I chose to have the influence of the wind on right direction. Okay, if you want to add your data models, I used predefined data models in solution. Here you can see the data models of supports, insulators, and cables or conductors. You can add your own data models. For example, if you want to add your pole, you need to go here and define is the tension or suspension pole, and you need to, of course, define these parameters. For example, height of the pole, and here you can choose do you want a system generated pole, or you can use your another pole created in any other solutions. For example, you can use here 3D model of the poles which you created in Autodesk Advanced Steel or in Revit or any other software solutions, but it needs to be recorded or saved in DWG file. Of course, it's possible to create your system generated pole, and I will, for example, just add one pole, and I will use this common system generated with height of 10 meters. Let's say it is my support model. I need to add attachment points. Here, let's define just a few attachment points. For example, let's put here 2, 5. For all of these settings, you can see on the right side that you have a small picture or photo where you can see which parameters you add in here. Okay, let's add new one, define like 0.5 and here 0.6. Press OK, and press on add. When I add it, it is automatically added here in supports. And how it looks, in this example, I use system generated pole, and if I want to create new power line with that pole, I can choose it, and I want to draw just a few poles. to show you how it looks. If I rotate it in 3D, I put on the elevation 0, but I want to show it. If you don't want to have complex 3D models of the poles, you can also use this possibility to create system-generated pole. Or, like I mentioned it, you can import any of your predefined 3D models of the poles. The same way is also for insulators. Okay, let's delete this line because I don't need it. The same way for creating or adding another data models, for example, for insulators, is if you're going here at insulator data, you need to define the type of the insulator, you need to define parameters of insulators, and of course you have here possibility to add your 3D model, like already created for maybe some previous project, 3D model, or you can use system generated. If you want to add conductor data, here you can define the name of your conductor, and you need to define the parameters of the conductor. If you want to use data of predefined conductors, for example, it is also possible. You can, for example, here go on right click and say, I want to duplicate it, and I want to change, for example, some parameters, and when you press add, it is automatically added on your list of the conductor. Conductors you can also export import, and it means if your colleagues working with the PowerPad, you can share conductor data because it can be recorded in some TXT format or let's say XML format, and you can share it. Okay, what I want also to mention here on the settings, you can change different units. For example, weather and different conditions that you need to define, and it means you can use different units. About any of the description of the command, you can use help. If I click here on help, it will be automatically opened in your internet browser, our PowerPad support portal, where you can see for each command a short description. For example, if I click here, and for example, if I want to see how to import Linux file, you can see that you have a short description for the command and also short video for that command. We created that video, short videos about half minutes or 1 or 2 minutes to show you how you can use that command. And it means you can see or find here description for each command. Also, you can see here that we have video tutorials, that we have some examples which can you use. Of course, here are some tutorials for how to install software, how to activate license, and etc. Okay, let's go now to create a B model of this power line. How you can create it? It is very simple because we have here option for importing and exporting IFC format. And if I go here on IFC export, I need to define which alignment I want to export. In my example, I have just one alignment. That is the same if I click here, export all power lines, or just without clicking down to define my power line. Also, you have option to export surface, and with possibility to export all surface or just one defined surface. In my example, it's the same because I have one surface. We support different certification. We support IFC 2.3 and also IFC 4. Okay, here is also added command function for opening IFC, and I will click to open IFC in my IFC viewer, and I will press on OK. I need to define the name, for example IFC, and press save. Then you need to wait a few seconds for generating this IFC model, because in this step solution, creating IFC record based on our poles, insulators, and conductors. And it be created, you will see that is 3D model actually with all attributes for that elements, for those elements. Yeah, of course, we support the certification 2.3 and certification IFC 4 because we want to support IFC format in different certification to use in next phases. Okay, I used command open that IFC automatically, and how you can to see this is one IFC viewer or viewer where you can to see any of your IFC models. If I zoom in or click on some of the elements of the power line, for example, my pole, I can to see on property set that is the support with the attributes. We put here the main attributes for each element. This is for pole, this is for insulator attributes, and this is for conductor attributes. And it means this IFC record is actually a real position of the power line with all attributes which you need to have for your beam model. Okay, that is about the short review of the main features of the PowerPad. Of course, you can use solution for another technical drawings, for 2D drawings or 3D modeling. But let's go back on my slides because I want to share just a few more details about the PowerPad. On here slide, I just put the key features or some exams where can be used the PowerPad. We saying that we promote democratization in software industry because we open bin approach. You can to share your created project with any limitation in sharing information. And when I look at these highlight slides or features, PowerPad can be used for 2D project design. Of course, when you're creating 2D, automatically software creating 3D BIM models. And it means these models with open bin approach can be used in next phases of the power line. You can use model in your visualization. You can use model directly on your site. It means if you have IFC record, you can do some applications for augmented reality, just use that IFC file and to have your digital model of the power line directly on the site. Of course, BIM is very important for next phases for maintenance. And it means once you create a project, you can use it later in next phases of the life cycle of the power line. A few details about the licensing and pricing model of solution. PowerPad is available in two different packages, like PowerPad Pro and PowerPad BIM. And the main difference is in that BIM features, and it means with BIM package you have options for BIM modeling, IFC export, also Revit export import, and that is the main difference between the PowerPad Pro and PowerPad BIM. When you speak about the type of the license, we have two types: commercial license, of course, for creating your commercial projects as a standalone and network license, and of course we have non-commercial license for testing product. If you want to test PowerPad, we have 30 days free trial for testing. Of course, non-commercial licenses are academic license for education. About the sales models, software is available on subscription plans for 1 year and 3 years, and based on different packages and different type of the licenses, that's the standalone network license, there are different price of the solution. About the education and learning software solution, we have already prepared material for learning, and it means you can learn it by yourself to our written and video materials. But if you want, we can also organize training for you to actually speed up your process of the learning and start with your project immediately. If you want to see more detail about the pricing, just go on our website, or of course communicate with our CAD and they will provide information about that. Okay, it was actually the short presentation about the main features and main information about our pet. I think that is now turn for Q&A. And Gary, please share if there any question about the solution.
Thank you, Petar, for great presentation. So now it's possible to ask questions. Tänu Petarile ja praegu on siis võimalik ka otseküsimusi esitada või chat'ile kirjutada. Loomulikult saate ka hiljem oma küsimusi saata, kellel on huvi demolitsentsi osas, andke märku. Võite otse kontakti võtta minuga ja hiljem saadame siis ka tagasiside salvestuse lingiga. Info PowerPathi kohta eestikeelselt on ka meie kodulehes taristute tarkvarade sektsiooni all. Seal samuti ülevaade erinevatest pakettidest ja tehnilistest võimalustest. Loodame, et saite täna huvitavat infot ja nõnda. Praegu oleme veel kohal, paar minutit ootan ja siis kui nüüd küsimusi tuleb, andke märku. Aga kui mitte, siis saame hiljem suhelda vajadusel ja soovi korral. So once again, thank you, Petar, for this opportunity to study PowerPath in closer look. So our clients can contact us also later. We will share the recording as promised, and
okay, thank you.
And this moment looks at people quite busy, and they probably will contact later. But I thank you very much for this presentation, and I wish you very nice weekend. And we are stopping the recording now. So if you want to add quickly some sentences, it's possible.
Okay. I just want to say thank you for your attention and your time. Like I mentioned, please contact our CAD for any additional questions. If you want to follow our activities, feel free to visit our website to subscribe on our blog, or visit our social channels, because we're weekly publishing our posts about our solution. In any way, I want just to add, because I'm listening a lot on different conferences. I met some people from Estonia, and that you're also working a lot for being your country. You have that actually, I think that is pilot project about BIM-based building permit process. And maybe if you didn't have requirements for power line BIM project in this moment, I'm sure that will be soon, actually, because I see what's happening in your country. That's it.
Okay, thank you once again. There was also one anonymous thank you, but we will continue later. So have a nice day, and keep in touch.
Also, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.